What's up, monkeys, gorillas, orangutans, whatever you guys want to call yourselves? I'm just kidding. Today, we are going to talk about the whole Vinicius situation.
This has happened to him quite frequently in La Liga. Um, but yeah, I guess this time it's just, just a lot bigger. So,
Um, so I was looking at the list. I think it happened like around 10 or more times to him. And the list had like clubs like Atletico
mhm.
and Barca was actually included in it twice. And this whole situation is just terrible.
I think there was only one time where it where it wasn't true, I think it was only one time. And even it's still like I'm not sure if it was true or not, but
Yeah,
it was saying that it wasn't true.
allegedly.
Yeah. And I think I would heard in the past more from the Italian league than La Liga. But recently it's been more La Liga.
Right, same with me. I was surprised too because recently, um, for me, it's been Italian League and Premier League that I've heard it from. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, in
I
Premier
got,
League to Asian players too, and
yep,
they just do it
just
to anyone who's an immigrant.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I think leagues like the Turkish league or something like that also, or the
Yeah,
Russian league. I think it's the Russian league.
yeah, I think like
Um,
Russian League, Premier League, I think the um, Germany League, I think those have happened, but they're more like everyone, not just color of skin, but like immigrants in general, right? Players who are immigrants. But in the Italian league, La Liga tends to just be like people who tend to be darker or black.
Mhm, definitely.
so, so what happened exactly, guys?
They just call them names again, man.
Well, I think I could be wrong because see, I didn't watch the end of the game. I watched probably like the first 30 minutes, and then I was just like, oh, I think Madrid's gonna lose. And then, um, from what I saw and heard was that they kept following Vinicius, and then I think in the play, I don't know if he hit the player, but like this almost, and then they didn't show the game after that, but they just went to describe what happened, and the fans started screaming at him, you know, like monkey and all these things, which is just is more about them than anything else. It's like literally your best argument or to make someone mad is to call them names, in particular of race.
Mhm.
Like you couldn't say um, Manchester 4-0 instead of like, calling out names.
Exactly.
And I'm not defending Vinicius I'm defending him in people attacking him because of the color of his skin. Not in like him arguing and also doing all this extra in the football pitch, right? That he also needs to be more professional and um, but I could also understand how he could be a reaction of the fans calling him names, in particular that has to do with the way he looks. If it's any other name, like you suck or things like that, that's normal. And if he can keep control of that, then he needs to do better. But when it gets out of that context, it's no longer football. It's just hate, racism. And also to clarify, it was not all the Valencia fans. It was just like a certain portion of them. So I think Ancelotti went on press, and at the press he was kind of saying like, "Oh, when you see a whole stadium, tell this to your player." But then he ended up then he I think went on Twitter or one of his accounts and said, "Oh, it was only a section of the Valencia fan base, not the whole stadium," like he had mentioned in the press. But then I was just like, as a coach, why didn't you just stop the game? And they're saying the press, they asked him, why didn't you stop the game when Benitez asked you? And then he said that, oh, it's not his fault that we stopped football. So, and I was just like, I know it's not his fault, but clearly something is affecting him that's external of playing football or being on the pitch. You stop the game. You guys already lost La Liga anyways. And even if they were winning it, you really want to support your player as well. You got to take action and do things like that.
Yeah, I get that. But he also said, I read somewhere that he also said that that has never happened to him before, which I kind of get, but you see what's going on, you see how hateful it was. Like, you should have tried to do something. And like Harry said, like, they're already losing, La Liga's already done. So I mean, it's like no point in, yeah, just not doing anything.
Not just the coach in this case, but his teammates. I know they're showing support a lot, but even at that moment, if they don't know what to do, just stop playing. Has happened before.
I want to go over like every single party that's involved in this situation.
All right, yeah, go for it.
So I get, like, I'm not really happy about how Vini is acting, because like we know how he's been recently. Like, he's been getting way too angry way too easily. And I get it, the players are picking on you, they're kicking you, but you reacting that way, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be more professional about it. Like, honestly, this is what happens when you're good. They try to find other ways to take you out of the game. But in this case, like, it's not okay for the fans to call him like monkey and stuff like that. That's out of hand. And the fans, like, other fans should just say something like, hey, come on, like, let's not do that. Or like, even the stadium should be like, I know they announced it, but say something, like, we're gonna suspend the match or something like that.
Me, I'm just like,
and same for La Liga. Like, there's been cases where fans have been suspended for like a certain amount of games because of stuff like this, and they're kind of just letting it go.
Yeah, some clubs have gotten fined in the past, and and I'll bring a good point also. People keep mentioning the banner that they use, right? Hashtag no racism or no racism in football. It's like, cool, banners popular, everyone sees it on TV because it's global, and at some point it's like, okay, can you do more than just having a banner that says no racism?
Exactly. We need to see things changing, not just, oh, no racism, and then we still see this type of things happen.
You're saying like no racism, right? But then you're letting stuff like this go.
Exactly.
So are you really for no racism?
Exactly. And that's to La Liga for sure. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and imagine the Valencia players, the ones who are darker skin. Like, that's how they feel also. They're calling someone else in the other team, but what about them who look like Benny?
Exactly. I would definitely feel some type of way if my fans were doing that, just because what if I play bad one day, or like had bad form, then what are they gonna say about me? Are they gonna call me monkey too behind my back? Or like when I go outside, a fan's gonna run up on me and be like, yo, monkey, play better or something.
Yeah,
Like, bruh,
exactly.
like that's not cool.
And since you brought up the players, the Valencia players specifically, also, what they could have done is like went over to like the section or the fans, whatever, who were saying that stuff and could have been like, hey guys, just chill, stop.
Hmm.
And because they're Valencia players, they can talk to their fans like that. They're able to say that kind of stuff, like
Remember,
stop saying that kind
the spy, and I'm bringing another good example from that in the past. Balotelli, great player, amazing player, but I think the way he acted and that way the fans got to him, but also attacking him with like race comments, just kind of ended his career. He just couldn't take it. He was always, every time he was on the pitch, they would always tell him something that had to do with race. But this one's in the Serie A, and then we can't let that happen to Vini in Real Madrid. And I think Madrid also needs to take some type of accountability in with Vinicius in regards to him being more professional, right? Like, or him to control his temper in the game, right? Again, not his fault in not defending the players who call him names, but I'm talking about the game in particular. And Vinicius also learning to not get into his temper, because at this point, when that happens, it just reminds me of Neymar. Any touch, like he starts crying, calling the ref, screaming at everyone, and I'm just like, dude, you're a great player. Just keep playing. You keep playing. The ref will see what they're doing. They'll give out more yellow cards, more red cards, but you faking it and always arguing, and it's not helping you or your team.
And continuing on, like Ancelotti, he could have like stopped the game, like you mentioned earlier. His player is getting racially abused. Just stop the game. I talked to you on text like when this was happening. Jose Mourinho did something like that, I think, last week in Europa League, where his players were like being abused, and then he was like, "Nah, stop the game."
Mhm. And I do want to, kind of like Tansen earlier. I guess I do kind of see his point now where he said like this has never happened to me, but which it's kind of like more justify him not doing anything, but yeah, I think what he should have done is call the game off, or let's take a break and let's see if security out of the stadium or whatever could get those players, and then we could go back out in like 15 minutes or 30 minutes.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if they would done that, it would have actually been worse for who they play, Valencia, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it would have been worse for Valencia, because Madrid players would have got rested. They probably would have tied the game or even win it. Never know. That would have been worse for Valencia because they were losing. And if you give the opposing team time to think and time to refreshing, it's worse for them.
And going to the Madrid players, they also could have done something like walk off the field. Like, hey, we're not gonna, no, we're gonna take a break until something gets done. And I read that Vini was like talking back to the fans, like, hey, you guys are the ones who are gonna get relegated and go to the second division or whatever. I'm not sure if like that's exactly true, but stuff like that, he could just like think it in his head or like not say it at all, because that's not gonna help him.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if he said that, but he was doing that. He was saying like this to them, like second division type of stuff. Which it's kind of what I said, right? He shouldn't be doing that. But if your best argument to attack this player is like being racist, like that's not cool. It's like you could just mention things like I said earlier. Oh, remember 4-0. Remember 4-0. or something like that, right? That has to do more with football.
I just think like he should just keep his head down, continue to score goals, blow past defenders. That's that's the best thing you could do.
I
Like
mean, he does.
no need to talk, honestly.
I mean, one thing I'll say just in that comment is, you know, he doesn't have to keep his hair down, right? Because it's you know, just because we're talking about race, you know, there's a lot of things like where like people of color tend to always look down, when, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I don't mean it.
But I know what you mean, and so I was just gonna say, like, you know, he could also just like, you know, be a normal, or like you said, you know, ignore it. And I think what you meant is by looking down, by like ignoring, like
Yeah.
not letting him get to his head, basically.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying, but it's just, you know, emotions are high and you keep getting called names and stuff can get annoying. And but I agree with you guys, you know, like he should,
But
I know he's young, but he should take the high road just so that one, they can't really use that anymore, you know, as like a weakness to get to him. And also it just shows people that he's better than that, you know, like he doesn't really need to get down to their level and play their games. And yeah.
Again, when it comes, again, like you said, when it comes to that, it's no longer about football. It's just people being racist. And then, and you know, obviously, there's a lot of people who get fouled. And I know this is like terrible examples because they're like exceptional compared to the others. But you know, Messi and Ronaldo, people went to foul them. Look at the way, and Neymar too, but Neymar kind of would act as same as Vini. You know, he would always also kind of the same way. But you know, there's been other players outside from Messi and Ronaldo, but I'm just saying Messi and Ronaldo because they've been the longest keeping at that level, where they're like keep getting foul or this, and they keep their cool. Maybe they'll lose it from time to time, but not to that extent. So it's like, Benny, you're a great player, could probably be one of the best at the moment, and probably he is, but just play the game.
exactly. And adding more to what you just said, Messi has been kicked so many times. They literally like pull his shirt and like try to like drag him back, and he just tries to just keep on playing.
And I'll give you another example, which is more like, since you mentioned Messi, you know, I mentioned Ronaldo. There was one time where they fouled him, and I think he went like that, and like they didn't hit the player hard, but kind of like smacked him, and Ronaldo got a red card, right? Which I was like, I know he shouldn't be like hitting anyone, but like, you see the player literally went to like hurt him. Like, I would have probably acted the same way, but it was worse than what they do to Vini, right? I can't remember if it was against Valencia or whoever it was, but whoever was trying to kick him, if you watch the video, they literally went for his knee and like really kick him. I would have reacted the same way.
To mess him up. Exactly.
But you know, he didn't stay there arguing or anything. He just kind of like, it was like you say, being in the moment type of like, dude, get off me. But that's simple, right? And then red card, whatever, he just keep it cool after, instead of going off to offend everyone else. I think players not keeping the cool is what keeps them from reaching their potential. And you could see a little bit of that in Mbappe and Haaland. When there's tough defenders who are holding Haaland or like doing tough, that's when Haaland doesn't perform, right? And then with Mbappe, the same thing. When he's not like, when people get to him or defenders get to him, he also doesn't really perform. Which is where I think Messi and Ronaldo were different. They would perform regardless.
Yeah, it's the mind games. It's not just like literally football.
And the thing is, I think for Messi and Ronaldo, since they were so like famous and talked about and great, like they probably got used to the hate, if you think about it as well. Maybe Vinny's just, you know, not not used to it yet. So
And you know what I'm saying is, the refs are not perfect either, right? Refs freaking suck.
even with VAR now, it's even worse
but
somehow.
but if the player just keeps playing, regardless of what's happening, the ref is gonna do a better job at knowing when to give a red card, when to give a yellow card. But you start arguing that, it's kind of like, okay, this guy also gets a yellow, and you too, then it kind of just gets out of hand for refs.
Yeah, that's true. It puts a lot, emotions are high, and it puts a lot of pressure on the ref too, which then in turn kind of,
Because,
they
I
might make a
seen
bad
with,
decision because of the pressure.
anyways, we get,
Oh yeah.
I was
So
gonna say,
you-
well, I was just gonna say, anyways, we're in a topic, but, football and racism, man, just to, I wish that wouldn't have happened.
we could do better. 2023. Come on.
La Liga, everyone's watching you.